What is going on, everybody? What is up? It is Thursday, of course. It is March 12th, and we are just a little bit after 5 p.m., and it's time for another episode of VR365. Yes, I did have a headphone problem right before the start of today's episode, and hopefully these babies will stay in and will actually work. But we're just going to try to work our way through this episode, and hopefully the headphones won't be an issue. But yeah, we got a lot of stuff to cover today. I'm going to be focusing in primarily on 3 big VR games that are in the news for all kinds of different reasons. And then we've also got a lot of different news stories as well that we can also get into. So we do have quite a few things to cover today. But you know what I did want to do, guys, real quick. Let me see if my webinar is enabled. Okay, let's switch over to the webinar real quick. Yeah, so the first thing I do want to do is I want to thank Starcade Arcade. That, of course, is the developer of Star Blazer. Yeah, do you guys like the new t-shirt here? So basically what happened is I was on Twitter looking at stuff, and somebody had one of these Star Blazer t-shirts, and I was like, oh, dude, that t-shirt is sweet. That is a nice t-shirt. And the developer of the game, Starcade Arcade, they got a hold of me and was like, yeah, do you want one of these? And I was like, hell yeah, I do. This particular one might be maybe one size too small, or maybe I just need a tan or something. But it's pretty sweet anyway. Slayblaze says, uh-oh, did the Sennheisers give up the ghost? I hope not. The Sennheisers are damaged, ladies and gentlemen. They are severely damaged. Okay, so see this? See how there's like, let's see here. These are already messed up, but see how this has like a padding? There's like something to actually squeeze over here. There's something to squeeze. This, no padding. There's nothing. Nada. There's no padding in there. So I've got to find out in my work bag, do I have the padding? And is there a way I can get the padding back into place properly and get it fixed up? But we'll have to see what happens. But I will survive. I will survive. I might have to buy some new Sennheisers. It is unfortunate. I mean, these, dude, Sennheisers, banging ass headphones. I'm pretty sure it's out of its, what do you call it? It's out of its time frame to possibly get it repaired for free. Okay, so number one news story of the day, we've got 11 days. 11 days left, folks, until the arrival of Half-Life Alyx. And I will give some serious credit to Scuba Steve 2365 on our Discord server today. He posted a picture of like a dude at Best Buy that had what looked like a legit physical copy of Half-Life Alyx, which makes no freaking sense whatsoever that there would be a physical copy of Half-Life Alyx at a freaking Best Buy like 2 weeks early. Like, that makes no sense whatsoever. Yet I was looking at that picture and it looked damn near real. And that was funny for a minute. Almost got me on that one. That was really quite interesting. Okay, so 11 days left, Half-Life Alyx. We're looking forward to it. And I got to tell you, we continue to get more and more announcements every single day. It seems like we're getting new release dates of games that are jumping into March. Why are games jumping into March? Have you not got the memo? I don't get this. There are a lot of games that are lining up right after Half-Life Alyx for whatever crazy ass reason. I guess the theory is a rising tide lifts all boats. People rushing to get Half-Life Alyx. Maybe they also buy Good Goliath. You know, because I heard Good Goliath has a release date of, I believe, March 31st. You know, that trailer that we saw recently coming to like Oculus and Steam on, I believe, March 31st for Good Goliath, which is that game that we saw a little while back. So yeah, a lot of games are jumping in and positioning themselves right after Half-Life Alyx, which to me is very bizarro. But you know what? We've also had some announcements of some brand new games that we didn't know they were coming. And this is an interesting announcement because it's not a brand new game, but it's a game that we haven't seen in a long time coming to VR for the first time ever. And that, of course, is Panzer Dragoon Voyage Record. Panzer Dragoon Voyage Record. And the Voyage Record is VR. And it's Panzer Dragoon, basically the remastered version of Panzer Dragoon that's coming to like the Switch and a lot of other consoles as well. Well, a specific VR version is also coming. Now, there was a release by the developer of the game, Wildman Incorporated. They're developing this on behalf of Sega, and they released a press release type of a thing that was very hard to understand. So what I did was I translated it. And this is my translation, and I'll go ahead and read you guys my translation. Panzer Dragoon Voyage Record is a dramatic VR shooter. You can relive sections from each of the famous Sega Saturn releases, Panzer Dragoon, Panzer Dragoon Zwei, I'm assuming that's how it's pronounced, and of course now my headphones are going to have problems the rest of the show, Panzer Dragoon Zwei, and Panzer Dragoon Saga. This is a brand new work, allowing the player to enjoy episodes of the trilogy with completely new graphics in the first-person perspective, optimized for VR headsets. Your motion controller turns into the handgun of the Dragon Rider. Specific VR platforms to be announced later. So we do have a new game that is going to be coming to, well, they said the specific platforms are going to be announced later. So we don't know absolutely specifically which platforms this Panzer Dragoon Voyage Record is coming to. Now, if I had to bet dollars to donuts, I would say that it's coming to PlayStation VR because Sega and Sony have a very good relationship. PSVR needs games. This game is not going to be super graphically intensive to basically bring this experience into VR where you're sitting as the driver of the dragon through this experience and you have the handgun, so you're shooting stuff as you're riding. I don't imagine that this would be ridiculously complicated to get working on PlayStation VR. So I think it's coming to PlayStation VR. I think it's absolutely coming to Steam and to general PC platforms. Whether or not it's coming to the Oculus Quest, that is a good question. The one thing I can tell you, though, is from a retro gaming standpoint, I remember May of 1995. You want to talk about sneak attacks? We've been talking a lot about sneak attacks, which is when games come out of the blue with no warning whatsoever, and all of a sudden a game like Free Diver, Triton Down, drops on the Oculus Quest with no forewarning whatsoever. That is a sneak attack. However, every once in a million years, you will get a sneak attack with an actual video game console. And that is what happened in May of 1995 with the Sega Saturn. And Panzer Dragoon was one of the very earliest games for the Sega Saturn. And I was one of the crazy people that had a Sega Saturn, and I loved Panzer Dragoon. It was freaking awesome. It had beautiful music, beautiful vistas, beautiful scenery. It's one of these games where you have a bunch of enemies and you kind of paint the enemies and then boom, 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 all your missiles fire and you're kind of like, zoop, 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 turning your perspective. It was a cool game. It was a fun game on the Sega Saturn. And then, of course, there were the follow-up games as well. And I believe Panzer Dragoon Saga, I think if you have like an actual original copy of that game, you could probably eBay that for several $100 probably. I'm not sure exactly what its valuation is, but basically we've got another VR game coming. I'm mildly interested in this. It's coming sometime prior to March 2021, which is like their next fiscal year, whatever it is. And so they believe it's going to be out prior to then. When exactly, we have no idea. But that is Panzer Dragoon Voyage Record. So that is one game that we've heard about recently that is coming to VR platforms in the not too distant future. But, you know, one of the most exciting bits of news that I've seen recently is the fact that one of my all-time favorite PlayStation VR games is coming to PC VR platforms. Talk about being let out of jail, ladies and gentlebots. Now, here's the deal. I don't know if this game is truly being let out of jail, but what I will say is The Persistence by Firesprite, easily one of the 30 best PlayStation VR games on that platform, period. And you might say, oh, one of the 30 best, that's not that big of a deal. No. If you go look at the 30 best PlayStation VR games, it is a freaking catalog of just massive hits, great, awesome games. And The Persistence is in the mix. It is right there in the top 30. Some people would say this is one of their 5, 10 best PlayStation VR games ever. And we thought this was exclusive as hell. We thought that there was no chance that The Persistence would be coming to other platforms because it's published by Sony, for crying out loud. The game is published by Sony. The developer is Firesprite, but it appears that it was maybe a timed exclusivity window. That window is over with. And now Firesprite, I believe, is hooking up with Perp Games, and Perp Games is going to handle the release of this, coming to digital and also coming to physical platforms, because it's coming to like the Switch, Xbox One, PlayStation 4. So it's also going to have a flat version. Now, we don't give a rat's ass, of course, about the flat version. Now, what I don't know, though, is will this game truly be let out of jail? And what I mean by truly being, I mean, it's a great game on PlayStation VR. It's freaking awesome on PlayStation VR. It's one of my favorites. It's a very good VR game. I don't want to talk smack about it. But the one downside of PlayStation VR, you got the single tracking camera. You got the cone of vision. And so you don't have room scale. And then also the persistence, kind of weird from the standpoint that no motion controller support on PlayStation VR. This was a DualShock game. You have hands in the game and you're kind of moving your hands around in the game, but you didn't actually have legitimate move control support. And when they bring this to PC VR, I really hope that they're going to go the extra mile, because PC VR players are not going to be super excited about grabbing an Xbox 3. I'll still be excited and I'll still do it, but a lot of PC VR guys are going to be like, I don't want to grab my freaking Xbox controller and stand up and use my Xbox controller and be snap turning around the persistence world and not have tracked hands. So I'm really hoping that there's legit motion controller support for the VR version of this game for PC VR platforms. And I'm also hoping that there is room scale, where you got a room scale space, you can walk around a little bit, you don't immediately see your boundaries. It adds extra immersion into the game as well. So I would, from those two standpoints, that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about being let out of jail. But either way, we're excited about the persistence coming this summer to a whole bunch of platforms, including the Oculus Store for Rift and Steam for Steam VR. So I'm super excited about it, really looking forward to it. Okay, let me go ahead and check out what folks might be talking about in chat. Let's see here. Ray Delatorre says, I hope Sega starts making more VR games. You know, the interesting thing about Panzer Dragoon coming is it's not being developed internally by Sega. It's being developed by Wildman Incorporated, which was this very smallish developer that had made a game that was very similar to Panzer Dragoon. Sega saw it, and then Sega basically said, yeah, you know, if you guys want to, we would allow you to basically do a remastered version. and officially allowed them to do it, and now we're finding out about VR. But yeah, Panzer, not Panzer. Yeah, well, I will say all kinds of things wrong all day long. I will say so many things wrong, so stay tuned, much more of that. Zayla Maru, the persistence will be awesome on PC VR. It's going to be awesome regardless. Even if they don't do legit motion controller support and room scale, even if they don't add that, it's still good enough that as long as they don't price it ridiculously, I think PC VR players should jump all over it summer of 2020. You saw the Oculus logo on there. So yeah, coming to the Oculus store, coming to Steam, exciting. Let's see. Phil Yarn says, what if Half-Life doesn't live up to the hype? Can it not live up to the hype? Well, I wasn't really going to talk about this as a topic, but since you brought it up, Phil Yarn, I will talk about that for a quick second regarding Half-Life, regarding the hype. It is 11 days away. This is footage that it's already been spoiled for me, so I guess I'll spoil it some more. I haven't seen much of anything else. I don't really know all the details of what is going on. That was such a good fake out by Scuba Steve. He didn't actually make it. Somebody else made it somewhere, and Scuba Steve grabbed it and put it in our Discord, and it looked like legit copy of Half-Life Alyx. It was crazy. But yeah, could it possibly not live up to the hype? Is there any chance that this game could be a dud? Man, well, it goes back to what I talked about on Sunday when I was kind of talking smack about like Epic Games and Ready at Dawn and Insomniac and a bunch of other people that have made VR games. Because one of the things I said is we have not had a legit AAA game to this kind of level ever. We've never had a number one A team by one of the 10 best developers on planet Earth making a dedicated VR game with basically unlimited resources, which includes time, money, staff, and anything else they needed. This is the first time we've ever seen that. It is so inconceivable that this could possibly be a dud. It is simply not going to be a dud. I've already said there's like a 95% chance this is the best VR game ever, and about a 98.9% chance that it's one of the 5 best VR games ever. I don't know that there's a legitimate chance that this flops. It's impossible. No, this is not going to flop. We know people that have already played this from beginning to end and love it. The only real concern that I have with this game is people will poo-poo the whole teleporting thing, but it's still a concern for me because when this game was being worked on, if it was being worked on in 2016 and being worked on in 2017, we hadn't really come to this consensus idea that we don't really need teleport. That didn't really happen until 2018. So there's some slight concerns from that angle, but I still think it's going to be great. It might be held back a little bit, and you might think, man, if they didn't give an F about teleporting whatsoever, this game would have been even better, but it's still going to be one of the all-time greats in VR. I mean, it's just inconceivable to me. Ray Delatorre says, Anthony's going to have his top 20 list of things wrong with Half-Life Alyx. Well, yeah, that's actually a great idea. I can find things that are wrong with everything. I can nitpick everything. There's no sacred cow in my book. Everything is up for grabs. And so I can absolutely do that if I wanted to do that. Okay, so the next story that I want to get into is a bunch of information has kind of come out recently related to Space Pirate Arena for the Oculus Quest. Right now, hopefully Nathy won't be too upset. I'm running some of his video footage here. This is Nathy. He visited the people at iLlusions, the 2 primary developers at iLlusions. Let me get everybody's name and make sure I don't get the wrong names here. Dirk Van Welden and Chris Haney. That's Chris Haney there jumping around, running around this gigantic open play space with Nathy. And so Dirk Van Welden, Chris Haney, those are the main guys at iIllusions, developer of Space Pirate Trainer, which of course was a 2016 launch game for the HTC Vive. And then not only that, talk about a company that maybe should be acquired by Oculus, iIllusions. These guys have proven they can be there at launch. They were at launch with the HTC Vive. They were also there at launch, I believe, with Oculus Touch when the controllers came out. And they were at launch with the Oculus Quest with easily one of the 10 best Quest games, one of probably the 5 or even 3 or 4 best Quest games at launch time. And now here they are showing off new footage for Space Pirate Arena and kind of explaining the whole idea behind this game. And I do believe we've got a potential game-changing kind of situation with games like this. Unfortunately, it's going to be extremely difficult for the average Joe Blow to create a situation like this. We don't all have warehouses, all right? We don't all have warehouses. We don't all have a good buddy with an Oculus Quest. We don't all have a spare laptop to run the server, to make a little hotspot for the 2 Quests to connect to. We don't necessarily have all of this, but I think a lot of people are going to try to make, they're going to try to move heaven and earth to try to be able to make this possible. One of the questions, though, is will regular Joe Blows be able to play this? And despite the long video and the interview, and then also Chris Haney being on F Reality, I still feel like I don't know exactly for sure if I don't know how this game's coming out. I mean, I know it's going to probably come to VR arcades. It's going to be licensed to VR arcades, but I have no idea if regular people are going to be able to play this. But anyway, here's what I did, folks. I was checking out this Nathy video. There were a couple of interesting comments that were made by Dirk Van Welden. Nathy interviews him, and I basically grabbed a couple of clips, and I thought we could check out a couple of clips and kind of talk about this, because this type of game this really is game changing. Like, this is literally game changing, folks. I know it's very hard for people to be able to make this happen in real life, but this is 2 Oculus Quests working together at the same time, and people running around like they're in the void. Now, they're not touching anything. They're not feeling heat. They're not, they don't have a freaking vest on that is providing impacts or things. So it's not as advanced as the Void from that standpoint, but it's almost like a ghettoized version of the Void that you could have at a local tennis court, a basketball court, a big empty parking lot, on a Sunday of a store that's always closed or something. I mean, it's a little bit dangerous, a little bit sketch-tacular, especially when you're bringing your laptop out there and you're running around like Peter Pan. I gotta tell you, Nathy running around like Peter Pan in this video, but you gotta love it. But anyways, we do have a few quotes. I thought some of it was very interesting, and why don't we go ahead and run those quotes? Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, folks, is I'm going to switch to this window here. Yeah, this window here, this gives us our full-size trailer, but it also gives me and my pie hole a chance to make things happen. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the volume up so we have some volume here, and I'm going to grab our first clip. And the first clip that I have is related to, so this is Nathy. He's talking with Dirk Van Welden, and the topic is kind of how much space do you actually need to make this happen. So let's go ahead and check this clip out.
We're 10 by 10 meters, which is like 35 by 35 feet, and what's the maximum space. And fortunately, that's actually a space that fits in most sports courts. Like one side of a tennis court or one side of the basketball court, it's always it fits into that space.
Yeah. So that was a quick quote there, talking about tennis court, talking about basketball court. And one of the things that we did find out about this, so the standard Oculus Quest thing is basically 10 meters by 10 meters. So I believe you need 32 feet. And if you took half of a tennis court, just on one half of it, you can have the necessary space to be able to run this game. So on a full-size tennis court that had tennis court, you could actually be running 4 simultaneous games. Could you imagine 8 nerds running around on 2 tennis courts, not playing tennis, not even being aware of reality itself, but wearing VR headsets, running around like jackasses? Yeah, how incredible would that be? Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to check out a clip. Nathan will do a copyright claim. That's cool. Go ahead. I mean, you'll get about $1. You'll get you won't even get $1. You won't even get $1. Okay, so the next clip is, let's see here.
And what's the maximum space? And fortunately, that's actually a space that fits in most sports courts. Like
next clip
one
is,
side of the tennis court,
how does the
or one side
connection
of the
work
basketball
about
court.
wireless?
It's always kind of
This is about wireless, how the connection will work with the multiple
So there's
quests.
a lot of tech in it, but not in like when it comes down to tracking itself. It's just using a standard quest. So it's just using one center point as a reference, and just they have to have the exact same direction. And then we just from that point we just kind of sync the players in a very high-speed network connection. Well, you don't need internet connection, so you need a hotspot. So you can bring your laptop, for example, and run a server on that. Or in the future, you could bring your mobile phone and have a hotspot on your mobile phone and just run it from there.
All right, so that was super interesting because basically you don't need, the cool thing about that is you don't actually need an internet connection. Like that's super important, I think. Because you can go, because like if you were able to go to like tennis courts, basketball courts, you go to like some elementary school that's like on school break, there's no kids anywhere, and you got like a flat surface as far as the eye can see, and you can set up a little play space for you, right? Like that's great, but if you need actual internet service there to make this work, you're probably looking at a real shitty experience. But if you can set up some kind of hotspot on your laptop or your phone and have the Quest connect to that and everything works great without needing to actually have internet, that's really cool. I mean, technically, like you could be camping in the woods and you can set up a play space and be able to play this, I guess, if I'm understanding correctly, like if you don't have to connect to the internet whatsoever. So that's good. Okay, so now the next clip I want to play of this is the last clip. It's pretty short. It's probably like 35 seconds, but they're talking about like releasing this game, like how are people going to get their hands on this game? And it's like, I still don't know how this is going to work, but we'll talk about it right after I run this clip. So let's go ahead and check this last clip. Nathan talking with Dirk Van Welden. Okay, Nathan's saying, can consumers buy it though, basically? Okay, so let's check this out.
But this will be a separate game, right? This is not a DLC to Space Pirate Trainer.
It's the same IP, but it's a different project.
Yeah.
But it's not something like, you know, in this state, like, this is not a product you can sell like just as it is. You could sell it like arcades could, for example, run it and have licenses, but we can just like sell it to the general audience.
What it comes down to is that warehouse scale, like you see in arcades, is not mainstream yet in the consumer market.
Yeah.
You would be the first.
You would be the first. You would absolutely be the first, iLusions, and I am not sure. I'm not sure that they're ready to be the first, you know? I just don't know that iLusions, like one of the things they mentioned, this was on the F Reality podcast. So I actually like got these clips together last night. I hadn't even heard the F Reality episode. I didn't know Chris Haney, this guy that's running around. I didn't know he was on that the most recent F Reality episode, and I was kind of late to getting around to F Reality, but I listened to all of that, and I listened to the comments, you know, made by Dirk Van Welden here. And at one point he says, look, this is not something that we could just sell like to regular people and stuff. But then at other points in the conversation, he's like, well, we made this for like regular people. And then he's saying, well, you know, it could probably be in arcades if it's licensed for like arcades and location-based entertainment. And they might make a special version for location-based entertainment and have versions for arcades. But the question is, can regular people do this? Because I can tell you right now, if somehow I had a build of this, I would find somebody in Sacramento with an Oculus Quest. I'd find a tennis court. I would make this happen. I would love to run around like Peter Pan. I would absolutely love to do that. And this game changer, from an exercise standpoint, from a fun standpoint, imagine having a ton of people that have never played VR before try something like this. Their minds will be effing blown. Being able to run around within a real space, because the thing is, the immersion level is probably off the charts when you're playing a game like this, and a lot of that has to do with actually running around, physically running around, knowing the walls and realizing the space and hiding behind this wall and hiding behind that wall. After a while, your brain forgets that this is like an artificial thing, and it's like, dude, you're running around, you're tired, you're ducking behind here, you're hiding behind here. And it starts to become a very real thing, and it starts to get realer and realer, especially being able to actually physically run and move through these worlds. Of course, there were some questions about like putting your head through a wall or cheating, moving your body through a wall, and we basically found out that they have countermeasures to prevent this. In fact, if you try to go prone, it basically goes black. And it says, sorry, you can't go prone, so you need to get up. And when you do go through a wall or stick your arm through a wall or whatever, you're actually leaving yourself open to be shot by the competitors, and you are unable to shoot anybody. So really quickly, people realize that it's a no-go. There's no reason to do that. Another thing that I found out that was pretty amazing about this is that there's no limitation technology-wise to having like 20 people running around at the same time, other than the fact that they're going to crash into each other and smash into each other. On F Reality, they were mentioning that they did try a few games with many more people that was in it. I think maybe one of them had like 8 people or 6 people or something like that. And they were saying that you would be dead immediately. You know, somebody would shoot you immediately. You'd have to have a gigantic map that would take the whole, an entire football field. It would have to be huge, you know, to have that many people running around. And then maybe the wireless signal, would it reach that far for the hotspot that it's connecting to, all these sorts of things. But this is cutting edge. This is like next level stuff. But man, I want to play it, you know, but will I have to go to a VR arcade to play this? Is there any way? You know, I don't know. I wonder how much a license is going to cost for this, because I think there's going to be some regular people that might want to freaking pay the price to try to get their hands on this. You know, so I don't know. I'm still kind of wondering about this whole thing. But I did want to mention Slay Blaze in chat with a super chat. He says, I want to be one of those 8 nerds playing that. Absolutely. We do want to be one of these 8 nerds. And look at that. In the video right there, there's like 5 different maps or 4 different maps that are possible. And so in the video that Nathan had, we basically saw 2 of these maps, but there's 3 other maps that they've had. And all of them are designed around this 10 meter by 10 meter play area, 32 feet by 32 feet. Now, one of the things I'm wondering is, if one of these location-based arcade places were to take one of these maps and say, you know what, we're going to make a physical construction for one of these maps, and we're going to put plywood and particle board or whatever, but we're going to make a facade, essentially a facade of all of this, so that you can bump into it with your leg, or you can bump into it with your shoulder, or you can lean on a wall or whatever, and then somehow also have that synced up so that it would be pinpoint accurate, which that would be difficult. But maybe, because Dirk Van Welden was saying that they might have a special version for location-based entertainment, and maybe that special version for location-based entertainment, you have to take the Oculus controllers and maybe touch this piece, touch that piece, and then it syncs up with your real-life physical play space, because that would add so much extra immersion if, when you're running around these hallways and down these little hallways and these little corridors and these little rooms, if you're accidentally bumping on the side wall and it's in the right spot, or these windows, like, see, the thing is you're using controllers, but we could also have games that use the Oculus hand tracking, and then you have windows and you're like supposed to touch your fingers with some alien person's fingers, and so you're touching your fingers on what feels like a window. All of it could be a facade. It doesn't even have to look great. So this is the future, man. This is where VR is going to get so much more immersive. And this is going to get the non-believers, I think, because I think like a lot of people that have tried VR and they're like, it's okay. But this is the type of thing they try this, and I think their mind is going to be blown, because I think they're going to realize, oh shit, what are we looking at 10 years from now? What we're looking at 10 years from now is Disneyland's that's just a ginormous effing parking lot, really, with all kinds of like fake props, so that when you're in this virtual world, it's freaking fully furnished and you can sit down on that park bench and, you know, do all sorts of things. I mean, that's the future of amusement parks. This is like a glimpse into the death of Disneyland, ladies and gentlemen. I know Disneyland got closed down because of Miley Cyrus. That's what I'm calling it, folks. I'm calling it Miley Cyrus. I'm not going to mention the C word, but this is the end of Disneyland as you and me know it, because Disneyland is going to have to really perfect this shit, because this is coming for that ass. Because they could have entertainment centers in any city where you don't have to travel in an airplane to California or an airplane to Orlando, Florida. You could be in freaking Cincinnati, Ohio, and you're going to have a gigantic center that has all kinds of giant VR shit going on. You don't have to go to Disneyland anymore. This is a threat, ladies and gentlemen. It's one of the reasons Disney stock is going down in a dumpster fire. Not exactly. I'm just playing around, and don't trust me for stock advice. Okay, so anyway, this is Space Pirate Arena. I'm excited for this, but more questions than answers still, kind of. I mean, there's kind of more questions. Oh, the other cool thing that we did find out about this whole deal is Space Pirate Kart Racer. Yeah, they got a kart racer that actually uses a real, like a little racing go-kart physically. And it's like a kart racer, Space Pirate Kart Racer, coming to a location-based entertainment center near you. Oh, there's the kart race. There's the karts in the background there. You saw them in the background, and I think Nathy is actually going to have... Oh, Nathy's in chat. Space Pirate Arena was awesome to play, but wait until you see me driving a go-kart with a Quest. Exactly. Space Pirate Kart Racer. Space Pirate Kart Racer coming to a theater near you. So yeah, that's really sweet. So yeah, that is Space Pirate Arena. Excited about it. Super cool. Great video, Nathy. That must have been tremendous fun. Must have been incredible. And you probably felt like you're seeing the cutting edge of a new generation of VR gaming. And also talk about exercise, dude. How much exercise could you how many calories could you burn playing those kinds of games all day long and just taking breaks so you can recover a little bit of your air and like recover a bit, but then going back in and doing it more, running around. People would lose crazy freaking weight doing this kind of stuff. So that would be cool as well. Okay, so one thing I did want to do really quick, guys, every show, I do want to kind of thank some of the people that are sponsoring our show. These are not official sponsors, but, people that have joined the Patreon or have done a PayPal donation or what have you. And so we don't have any new Patreon supporters this week. So I'm going to thank some currently existing Patreon supporters real quick. Wanted to say a quick thank you to James Jacob. James Jacob has been down with the Patreon for a while now. I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate your support, James, for sticking with the Patreon through thick and thin. That was absolutely awesome. Really appreciate it. And still with the Patreon to this very point in time. Now, another person I want to thank is Elevate Diddy. Elevate Diddy. Yeah, this is how I'm pronouncing your name, bro. Elevate Diddy. I don't know how to pronounce this right. It's probably Elevidity. It's probably Elevidity, but I'm going to call it Elevate Diddy. See, this guy is a huge fan of Puff Daddy, of P. Diddy, and he wants to elevate Diddy back into the stratosphere. So he came up with the name Elevate Diddy. Okay, doesn't really make sense, but I made it up on the spot. But yeah, Elevate Diddy has been with the, or Elevidity probably has been with the Patreon for a while. We definitely appreciate it. It's absolutely awesome. Longtime Patreon supporter, so definitely appreciate that. James Jacob, Elevidity, definitely appreciate it. And then in terms of PayPal, have not had a recent PayPal donation in a little while, but I will thank the last PayPal donator to donate 20 or more bucks. That is Jerry Opdyke. So thank you so much to Jerry Opdyke for your donation a while back via PayPal. Really appreciate it. That was awesome. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to get into some news stories that are on the webinators of the world. So let me get my webinar ready. We've got a number of different news stories are popping up all over the place. So check this out, folks. This is the funny one of the day. It's sad. It's sad and funny. Actually, wait, I'll grab a video first and then we can check out the story. So yeah, I think I grabbed a video for this. Yeah, so you guys might remember. Oh, wait, that turn these cameras right on. You guys might remember back in the day, I was a very, what would you call it? You know, basically a fanboy of Magic Leap. I was really into Magic Leap. I thought Magic Leap could be a dream of all dreams. And I was really praying for Magic Leap to be this incredible thing. And dude, I stuck with Magic Leap for a long time. Like even when Shaq, you know, when they were talking to Shaq and everything, and he was talking about, dude, the basketball game's going to be right there and you're going to see LeBron. I was still sticking with Magic Leap up until the point they actually revealed the headset and we had the field of view. And we basically realized that it's pretty much another kind of a HoloLens product and nothing revolutionary at all. But Magic Leap's been out there. They've gotten a ridiculous amount of funding that continues to pour their way. That's what I don't get. Why does funding still come to this company? Well, you know what? Funding might have dried up, ladies and gentlemen, because there are rumors. Let's go ahead, switch over to the webinator. This is on Road to VR. Report, AR startup Magic Leap is looking for a buyer. And here's the funniest part of this whole thing. Do you know that Magic Leap is looking for a buyer that will pay $10 billion? Magic Leap is looking for somebody to pay $10 billion for everything that is Magic Leap. Who the F is going to do that? Who the F is going to pay $10 billion for Magic Leap? Nobody. Nobody's going to pay $10 billion. Now, Magic Leap, okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this article. So yeah, it's a Bloomberg report. Bloomberg maintains the company has valued itself at more than $10 billion if it pursues a sale, its sources say, noting that the company has contracted an advisor to consider strategic options. A meeting was also allegedly held between Facebook and Magic Leap. However, Facebook was uninterested in acquiring Magic Leap at the time. Hell yeah, I mean, Facebook should not be freaking interested in this. You got to be able to do better than this. Now, there are reports, though, folks. There are rumors that there's a Magic Leap 2 headset that supposedly is half the size with double the field of view. Half the size with double the field of view. So don't laugh yet. Don't laugh yet. Maybe they will get 10 billion. I mean, if they can really shrink that thing, if they can chop it in half and have double the field of view, they might have a legitimate slight competitor, but no. See, Magic Leap made a terrible mistake. I can't believe that so much money poured into them over all of this time because their focus for the longest time has been consumer-based, doing deals with the NBA and with DirecTV, deals that make no sense because consumers can't afford this And it's not compelling enough that a consumer is going to go get $2,000 to buy a Magic Leap. This just it doesn't fly. You know, it doesn't make a lot of sense. There's the NBA app, CNN apps. Why are you making apps like this? It's not logical. They should be trying to sell this to hospitals, to real estate, to architecture, to BMW showrooms, you know, BMW dealerships, Jaguars. They should have went exactly where Microsoft was going with their HoloLens. They didn't do that. They went consumer. Now they're trying to pivot. They've been trying to pivot now, but they're so late on the pivot. And then now we're hearing about Magic Leap 2. It's going to be half the size, double the FOV, but they're looking for a $10 billion buyer. Good luck with that, but man, is it some shocking news. And imagine if you were one of the early investors of Magic Leap, you got to be going, oh my God, what was I doing? Now, the one valuable thing that they do have some valuable patents. They actually have valuable patents, but not 10 billion, not 10 billion. I don't even know 1 billion. I don't even know if they have valuable patents for up to 1 billion. Okay, so we got some more information coming up. Let's switch over to the webinator now. And switching things up, of course, GDC was going to happen next week. I was going to be visiting San Francisco. I was going to be there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It was going to be awesome, man. I was going to go to Pimax. I was going to interview Sweeviver. I was going to get to try the 8K and X and the 8KG and all that. You know, I was going to be able to try all kinds of stuff. I probably would have been able to play Iron Man VR and all kinds of cool stuff would have been there. Good Goliath probably would have been there, you know, a week before it was going to come out, you know, all kinds of things, right? It would have been sweet. Not happening, obviously. There's no GDC. Took them a million years to cancel it, but they finally did. But here's the thing. Facebook and Oculus, they still have information that they need to deliver to the end-level consumers. And so that is going to happen all of this upcoming week. So for the entire week, except Friday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week, we're going to be watching the Oculus blog very closely for announcements about possible Oculus Rift games, Oculus Quest games, and who knows what else. So possibly new hardware, doubtful, but I don't know, we might get some interesting stuff. So all of that is going to happen next week, Monday through Thursday. Also, one of the things, let's see here, let me grab my notes, because one of the things that they did mention, okay, so there were going to be 3 talks that were going to be held at GDC, at least 3, I don't know, there might have been more, but one of them was VR business best practices. Another one is the future of playing together and where multiplayer is going in VR. And that's interesting. You know, that's interesting. The future of playing together and where multiplayer is going, we just saw that earlier on the show, Space Pirate Arena. You know, maybe they'll actually talk with iLlusions. Maybe they'll have Dirk Van Welden in that particular video. So the future of playing together and where multiplayer is going in VR and best practices for launching games on Oculus, which is going to be their Defense Force mantra about why we don't have To the Top, why we don't have Pixel Rip 1989 officially in the Oculus Quest store, and those types of things. So we are going to get these 3 videos on Thursday that detail these talks. So that will be interesting. We'll all be able to check that out. And so we'll get that on Thursday. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, there might be announcements. There might be trailers that hit YouTube and hit the Oculus blog. We're hoping for announcements for Quest games, possible release dates. You know, what are we waiting on, ladies and gentlemen? We're waiting on Lone Echo 2. Is there a release date for Lone Echo 2? What about Echo VR for the Oculus Quest? We're waiting for release dates for that. So we're waiting possibly for brand new announcements for unknown games we've never heard about. Think about this, folks. Think about this. When it comes to the big Oculus bangers, once Lone Echo 2 launches and once Medal of Honor, maybe a new trailer for Medal of Honor. Maybe we'll get an update. You know, here's a worry, guys. Let me give you guys a danger scenario. A new trailer for Medal of Honor. Here's a negative prediction from Nostradamus Jr. A new trailer for Medal of Honor. And at the very end of the trailer, what does it say? First quarter 2021, or like spring 2021, or just 2021 period. You know, that would be a little bit of a Debbie Downer, but maybe a new trailer for that game, maybe new announcements, maybe some release dates. But once those games are gone, where's the next big level banger game for the Oculus platform? Where's the next Asgard's Wrath type of game, the next Stormland type of game, the next really big one? And we don't know of one that is floating out there, you know, so it's been a while since we've heard of one. So maybe next week we'll get that. That could be exciting. Another thing is we've already found out that there will be some new information coming out about Beat Saber and Pistol Whip. Those games obviously already available. I got to imagine, because it's kind of a co-deal with Oculus, that they're going to be talking about these two pre-existing games. I'm guessing there's going to be paid for DLC for both of those games, both Pistol Whip and Beat Saber, new paid DLC. And I believe is it the first time that Pistol Whip has had paid DLC? All the DLC has been free. I think now we get some paid DLC because Oculus is involved. And if Oculus is involved, dollar signs are involved, in my opinion. Okay, also upcoming games like The Room VR, A Dark Matter, which is locked in for March 26th. Lies Beneath, coming on March 31st for Oculus Quest, April 14th for Rift, and Phantom Covert Ops. All are to be featured next week with the information that we get. And you know what's exciting about that? Let me see. I'm going to see if I got a Phantom Covert Ops trailer. One sec here. Damn it. See, I don't have... crap. Yeah, see, the thing is, I don't have all my trailers from my other PC. Stupid me. Okay, well, anyway, never mind that. I was going to try to throw the trailer on the screen for Phantom Covert Ops. We might finally get a release date for Phantom Covert Ops. And actually, here's my prediction, folks, on Phantom Covert Ops. Sneak attack, baby. Sneak attack. Because we've never heard a release date. We've heard about it forever, right? We've got a release date for Lies Beneath. We've got a release date for The Room VR, A Dark Matter. I say Phantom Covert Ops is going to be available next week on both the Rift and the Quest. So I think we're going to get a sneak attack Phantom Covert Ops. So that is one of the things I think about that. All right, let's see. Some other stuff I wanted to get into. Well, we got some more news. So let's go back over to the Webinator. And let me see here. What other news did I want to get into? One thing that I didn't report on recently. So we do have this. InReal is teasing a new all-in-one HoloLens 2 style competitor, and it is supposedly coming in the fourth quarter of this year. So basically, InReal doing very similar to what Magic Leap is doing, pivoting more towards industry. Because in the early days, dude, VR is way behind. AR is way behind VR. We always thought that AR was maybe like 4 years behind VR. No, AR might be like 9, 10, 15 years behind VR. It's going to take a lot longer than we ever imagined. Magic Leap, it is so unfortunate because, you know, I rooted for Roni Abovitz and I don't want to see anybody crash and burn. There's no joy in a company crashing and burning, trying to do something amazing and falling short of that. You know, there's no joy in that. That doesn't help anybody out. I want to see these companies be successful. I was rooting for Magic Leap. The problem is, I think everybody was 10 years too early. I just think it's 10 years too early. It's nowhere near ready for prime time. It's one of the reasons Facebook is working on augmented reality glasses, but they're not even going to really discuss it very much because it's looking more like a 2024 kind of thing, 2025 kind of thing. Same thing with Apple and everybody else that's going to get involved in this field. So it's just going to take a lot longer than we ever thought. But in real, companies that are involved right now, they are going to pivot a little more towards industry and towards BMW dealerships and towards nuclear reactors and things where you might want to be able to have some AR helping you fix that radiation leak or whatever. But yeah, so we did hear about that. InReal is teasing a HoloLens 2 competitor. It's probably going to be pretty crappy. Probably not that great. Also heard about this. So I mentioned this earlier. Good Goliath coming on March 31st. It's going to be available on PlayStation VR, and it's also going to be available on PC VR platforms, both on March 31st, which is the same day that Lies Beneath comes to the Oculus Quest. And like I said, a lot of games are jumping in to late March, and I'm wondering why. Maybe it is, maybe it is a fiscal thing. Maybe they got to get it out. I mean, I don't know why they would have to do that. I don't think they're published by a large company or anything, but I'm wondering why so many companies are jumping into late March. If I were them, I'd look more towards like mid and early April. Speaking of games that have been announced and release dates, March 24th, Paper Beast is coming on March 24th, and I'm not sure why this article says Paper Beast all throughout the entire article, because I thought the name was Paper Beast, although Paper Beast kind of makes more sense. I always wondered why they didn't have another S on there, but to the best of my knowledge, they don't. But yeah, that is coming March 24th to PlayStation VR. The good news there, PlayStation VR drought finally going to be dealt with. That is really cool. So we are happy about that. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I am bouncing back over to our little standard scene here. Let me get off of this Magic Leap trailer that I've been running way too long. And let's see if I can find something else really quick here. One thing I did want to mention about 2MD, this is not the right trailer, but the 2MD Evolution that I mentioned before, that actually comes out on April 1st. I think when I talked about it, I kind of talked about it like it was already available right now. Yeah, you could play the cyber version update of 2MD VR Football, 2MD VR Evolution. It's April 1st, so we actually have to wait till April 1st. I kind of made a mistake on that the last time. Okay, so I do have one other little topic to get into here. Let's hold on a sec if I can find it. I gotta find the Oculus Quest subreddit. Okay, so let's bounce over here. Just a minute, folks. Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and bounce over to the webinar. And one thing I did want to mention, guys, is yesterday I did do a post on the Oculus Quest subreddit, the top 60 most wanted upcoming Oculus Quest games. This, of course, is our ranking. Look at journalist. I'm a journalist. No, I'm not. But you know what? They have these different categories, and self-promotion journalists made the most sense, so I went with that one. Not a journalist, okay? Not a journalist, but I did sleep at a Motel 6 last night. But yeah, so I posted this on the Oculus Quest subreddit, and here's the good news. The good news is a lot of people actually kind of like this, and it was upvoted, 90% upvoted, 48 points. People were down with this list. They kind of liked it. Of course, I did have some haters extraordinaire that did jump into this and talk some smack, and I wanted to bring up a couple of them because I just thought I would kind of explain the situation a little bit here. Okay, let's see one of the ones where somebody talked real smack. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Yeah, this guy, Elwin Boo. This list is pretty much a joke with made-up dates and games that were officially announced as not coming rejected. I'm just tired of saying the same thing every time the list is posted here, every few months. Okay? And so basically what I wanted to say to this dude, and what I did say to this dude is like, no, here's what I'll say about it. It's like, look, this list Not a perfect list by any stretch of the imagination, but is there a better effing list? Like, that's my question. Unless you've got a better effing list, you might as well close your pie hole, bro. Because look, what I'm doing here with VR game rankings and the lists and stuff that I'm making, it's not like I've got some secret ulterior motive where I'm trying to secretly pump up these games and I'm trying to secretly spread misinformation and I'm trying to secretly say that this game is coming to the Oculus Quest when it's been canceled a long time ago. It's not like I got some evil freaking plan and shit. There's no evil plan going on here, dude. I made a website a long time ago. The tagline is called Making Sense of the VR gaming landscape. And that's what I've tried to do. Now, is the website that great? No, it's not that great. But you know what it is good for? It is good for, like, let's say you're a brand new Oculus Quest owner, for example. This would not be a bad list to take a look at. Top 60 most wanted upcoming Quest games. You get to see the biggest games that are coming to Quest. Some of them have actual release dates, like Down the Rabbit Hole, March 26th. We've got it currently ranked 19th. Or, for example, The Room VR at Dark Matter, March 26th, ranked 6th. Lies Beneath, March 31st, ranked 5th. Some of these games have actual dates. You know, a lot of people in that thread were complaining about release dates or complaining about the fact that we have these like projected release dates, because what we do is we give a release window to every single game. Whether we have a release window or not, we give them a release window. It's kind of similar to like Electronics Boutique. Like when you'd go to Electronics Boutique's website and they'd have a list of games that were coming later this year and they'd give it all these dates. They're basically guesstimating it pretty much, which is kind of what we're doing. We take as much information as we can from the companies. If they give us a release window, we use that. If they don't give us a release window, we try our best to kind of predict it a little bit, and we constantly adjust it. We're constantly updating it. Like, it's not that big of an effing deal, man. You don't need to be so effing OCD about it where you can't see the forest through the trees and you shit all over a list like this because you're like, well, this game is not coming out in the second quarter. The Wizard's Dark Times. It says Carbon Studio. That game is not going to be out in the second quarter. This list is complete and utter bullshit. Space Pirate Arena, Illusions. It's not coming out in the third quarter. And it's not going to be available to consumers. This list is complete and utter bullshit. Well, you know what? This list, I think, is better than anything else we got. So unless you got something better, I suggest you shut your pie hole. I'm trying to make these lists. I'm putting these lists out there. Okay, so this one is the top 80 Oculus Quest games currently available. They're ranked. They got prices. You click on them. You go to the game profile page, which provides more information. Now, could this website look way the F better? Could it be formatted way the F better? Hell yeah, on all freaking counts. Everything could be better. But you know what? At least we got an effing list that ranks the top 80 currently available Oculus Quest games. This was as of February 1st, does need to be updated. There's been more games that have come out, like Free Diver, and a few others need to be added to the list and updated. But people shitting on me, not really a good idea, man. I'm doing this out of the kindness of my heart. So I did want to mention that really quick. Okay, I think we pretty much covered everything, folks. Okay, so let's go ahead and bounce back over to standard scene. I'm going to switch up on this game trailer window. I did want to check out chat really quick before I bounce out of here. So let me just throw a different trailer up on there and let's go ahead and check out chat real quick. But most people had good things to say, and some people were very like, dude, this is a really cool list. Like one guy said, I bookmarked this page, and that's rare for me, and that's cool. And look, I know it's like amateur level website. I don't know shit about making a website. It was just, I decided, okay, it's confusing. I made this website in April of 2017. And that was in the early days of VR. And in the early days of VR, you literally had to be like a Sherlock Holmes detective guy that searched all over the internet, searched all over Twitter, searched all over Reddit, searched all over all kinds of message boards, and looking for looking for developers, websites, and all. Like, you really had to dig into the weeds to find any information and have any idea of like stuff that's coming out. Like, a million of these kind of websites for flat gaming, but nothing like that for VR. And that's why I started it up. And I always thought it would be way the F better than it ever was. But I'm working full time. I got a full-time job. I'm working 40 hours a week. I got a family. I got kids. I try to work on the website when I can. I really wish I could work way more on the website. And I really wish we had 5 other people working on it. I wish I had a Quest guy or gal. I wish I had a PlayStation VR guy or gal working on the staff. I wish I had another PC VR person on the staff. I wish I had like an editor. I wish I had a business guy. It'd be awesome if we actually had people working on it. So really what it is, it's pretty much a little effing fan site is basically what it is. But oh well. Okay, so anyway... VR Spry Guy says Anthony should do his whole show in that voice. Yeah, I love doing those voices. It's always fun. Ray Delatorre says, to me, Gamer Rankings is one of the best. Game Rankings? Not VR Game Rankings, bro. It's a different website, and they shut down from what I understand. But no, it's amateur. It's amateur hour. Oh, Valderog says, citizen journalist, amateur trying to play professional. Yeah, that's basically what it is. It's fake it till you make it. It's fake it till you make it. I always wanted to have way more people working on the website. When I originally started it, I thought basically what would happen is somebody would come out from the weeds somewhere and be like, dude, I see the vision. I understand the vision. I'm down, dude. Can I be like your right-hand man, dude? And maybe get some like, we can kind of be a partnership and stuff. And I always thought I would have a partner early on, and then we'd add some more people as we go. And it would basically be this little scrappy outfit that would try to be like the ghetto version of Road to VR, but also having all our rankings and stuff like that. It's never worked out. It never really worked out that way, but I still fucking bang away at it. I'm still trying, so whatever, but yeah, it's all good. Okay, so let's see. What was I going to say here? We pretty much covered everything. I think I thanked everybody, so we're basically done here. So let me go ahead and grab my outro and get the hell out of Dodge and get some dinner. So yeah, that's going to go ahead and do it for this particular episode of VR 365 Live. Once again, thanks to the developers of Star Blazer. I am rocking the cool t-shirt, saw it on Twitter, thought it looked pretty sweet. They do have a sweet logo. Like, I like their logo. I like the colors of the logo. I like it. It's cool. And so if you are a developer of a VR game and you've got a banging ass t-shirt, I probably will wear it. It just depends on if I think it's banging or not. So go ahead and get a hold of me. You can get a hold of me at info@vrgamerankings.com. All right. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and bounce the hell out of Dodge, and I will be back, of course, on Sunday. I will be back on Sunday, 11:30 a.m. Pacific time. Have no effing idea what I'm going to be talking about. I have been playing Boneworks. So maybe I'll actually talk a little bit about Boneworks. In fact, just talking about Boneworks real quick, so underrated. I tweeted about it yesterday. Boneworks is crazy underrated because I was in it after not being in it for a long time, and I got a little bit further than I had gotten prior, and I was just playing the game, and I'm like pushing this gate open, and it's just the physicality of it, man. People, I just think they underestimate the physicality of it because you just forget. You forget that you're not in another place, and I think Boneworks does it better than any other game because of the fact that you're pushing things, pulling things bump into each other, and I mean, people appreciate that about it, but I don't think they appreciate it enough. We don't have any, like, what is the next closest game to Boneworks? We don't have a Pepsi to that Coke. Like, there's no Pepsi to that Coke, in my opinion. State of VR with a late in the game super chat. Thank you so much, State of VR. $1.99. Thank you so much for your super chat. I really appreciate that. Oh, you know what I can do really quick? Let me thank some additional super chatters. I only made one of these. I didn't get around to rendering them, but I did make one. And so let me just thank a few super chatters. I'm going to be doing this periodically in different shows. So if you're a super chatter, you definitely will be thanked eventually. So it might take some time, but eventually everybody will get some thanks. Zach LaFontaine, Will Flourish, Vexners3, Zilong Ma, Zayla Maru, and Steve Drumheller of Conquer Reality fame. So all 6 of those people did do super chats. Appreciate it to a major degree, and definitely will be thanking more people as well. And thank you so much, State at VR. Absolutely. I know that you've done a super chat prior as well, because I actually have you on one of these thanks super chatter things. I just didn't render it, so it hasn't been rendered. So you see it on a future episode. But thanks so much. Do want to thank all the folks that do support VR365. It is incredibly awesome. And we absolutely do appreciate your support both on VR365 and VR Game Rankings. There are some people that really, really do appreciate VR Game Rankings, and that is awesome. At least, it is doing a little bit of good out there. Okay, so I will see everybody on Sunday, 11:30 a.m. Have no effing idea what I'm going to talk about, so definitely tune in and check it out. It should be interesting. Maybe I'll have to come up with some kind of controversial story or something to make it interesting. I don't know. We'll see what happens. See you guys then. Take it easy. Later.